Have you wildcarded yet? No, nor me. But this is when I'm going to pull the trigger. Welcome to the Gianni YouTube show. Hope you guys are well. We have lots of options around hitting that button, don't we? Now, some have already done it, but if you haven't, I'm going to give you my top 5 wildcard windows. Now, let's just rattle through them very quickly. Number 1, you go this week. Number 2, you go ahead of game week 9, which is the next international break. I may or may not be looking at that one myself. Option 3 is you go ahead of game week 12. There's a bit of a swing there. Game week 19 again is an option. And then option 5 is you go anytime you like and you're completely flexible to it, which I must admit, I've been there, done that, and it often does work. And last year's winner, Ali Yahangarov, had no wildcard plan. He wasn't dead ending into teams to wildcard out of them. He just remained completely flexible and it worked for him. So what I really want to talk about today are some of those options, right? Option 1 and 2 are both really interesting. Wildcarding this game week, I understand. Like, start of the season, there's lots of price changes. And if you wildcard now, you can build your team value quicker. I get that. If you look at your team and there's 3 or 4 of your 10 outfield players that you desperately want to change, I get it. You can consider a wildcard. 5, 6, you do it, right? But for me, there's probably 3 or 4 that I would change, but I'm not desperate to change. And that isn't wildcard worthy for me. And I always evaluate wildcards on my 10 outfield players because your goalkeepers, there's often not much between them. In your bench, yeah, sure, when you wildcard, you're probably changing all 3 bench players, but I'm cool with that, right? That doesn't really matter to my outfield team, to my points each week. It's the 10 outfield players that do. So evaluate your 10. Don't look at it and go, oh, I'm making 7 changes there if I can wildcard. Well, not if it's your 3 bench outfield players and your 2 goalkeepers. Those 5 don't really matter to you. So I get it if people are going now. I'm seeing a lot of people considering now that I don't think need it. Sure, we want to accommodate Madison or Son if you don't have them, but you can often do that in 2 moves and maybe you take a hit. The window I want to talk about today, though, is game week 9, ahead of game week 9. So the next international break is between 8 and 9. It's the October break, and it will give us time to evaluate because you've got that 2-week period where you can make changes and jump on price rises. Great, we like that. But also it's for the fixtures. It's mainly for the fixtures. And I'll talk a little bit about those fixture swings in just a sec. But first, I just want to give a shout out to Sorare. I've been playing Sorare now for a couple of weeks and I'm enjoying it. I really am. And I'm noticing that a couple of you guys are following my journey and playing too. And if you fancy playing, then there's a link in the description. And what's cool about my affiliate link, and I'm proud to be an affiliate, if you click the link and buy your first 5 limited cards, you'll get a free limited card, which is pretty cool. I'm still playing the amateur version, the free version, but I must admit I'm getting more and more into it. I feel like I'm improving my game, and with that I'll be buying limited cards soon. So guys, let me know in the comments if you're playing Sorare, and I will be keeping you up to date with my journey. So let's have a look at that wildcard window ahead of game week 9, shall we? Because game week 8 is really interesting. When you just take game week 8 and look at it as a solo week, it might be the first week the masses jump off Haaland for captaincy, right? So game week 8 sees Man City travel to Arsenal. Now, on paper, that should be the toughest fixture City have all season. If you're going to go against Haaland captain any week, surely that's the week. Now, the same week, Spurs play Luton. Now, admittedly, it's at Kenilworth Road, but they still play Luton. So you might want to captain Son or Madison or whoever, right? So in that week, not only are we going to be considering captaincy, but we might also be preparing for a game week 9 wildcard. And if you're doing that for 1 week only, you can sell potentially your Man City and your Arsenal players. And maybe there might be a striker that you want to jump on in game week 8. You might go, Rasmus Højlund is at home to Brentford. He's been smashing it of late. I haven't been able to get him on my team. I'm going to sell Haaland for the guy that everyone says is the next Haaland and buy Højlund. Because you know you're wildcarding next week and you can bring Haaland back in. So a planned wildcard allows those 1 week punts, the dead ending we often call it. Now, the reason we like game week 9, I've mentioned the break, I've mentioned the dead ending, is more for the fixture swing. So I want to bring up the game week 9 fixtures. Now, this is from the Scout members area, this ticker, and I filtered it from game week 9 to game week 14, right? So we're only taking 6 game weeks. Now, you might say go all the way up to, game week 20, whatever. I'm not going to do that because, remember, you get a free transfer every week and 6 game weeks is enough because by that 7th week, your team is 6 players different if you've not taken any hits. So I think we only need to have a look 6 weeks ahead. And with that in mind, if I filter for those 6 weeks, let's have a look at that ticker. And I look at this ticker, guys, and I see all the teams that I don't have well covered right at the top, and loads of the teams that I have well covered at the bottom. It's a big swing, right? So let's look at the bottom first. Right at the bottom, Chelsea. Well, I might still be on a triple up game week 8. They got good fixtures all the way through there. I might want to sell them, however, ahead of the Arsenal game week 9. Man City, again, I'm on the triple up. I could still be there. Man United, I've got 2 of them. Man City, Man United, Chelsea, all right at the bottom of the ticker. Now, I'm not saying sell all your Chelsea, City and United players. Like, it doesn't matter what games they have. They're going to be good assets. Maybe not all of them, but certainly your City players. But you can lighten the load. And with that, you can replace them with players who play for good teams who have great fixtures. So, right at the top of the ticker, we see Villa. Might want a couple of them. West Ham, you might want Bowen. Liverpool, I mean, if Salah's still around and Darwin's starting and Trent's playing well, we might want triple Liverpool. Look at that fixture run for Liverpool. I like that very much. Everton, Forest, Luton, Brentford from game week 9 onwards. Even Crystal Palace, Eze, Newcastle, Trippier. There are good FPL assets at the top of the list that I ain't going to get to with free moves. Not easily, but I get to with a wildcard. So it's worth bearing that in mind. So I really like that ticker from game week 9 onwards. Now you could look at, I gave you an option 3 from game week 12 onwards. There's a bit of a swing. You could look at kind of around the Christmas period. You could go, yeah, I'm going to hold it as long as possible. Or you could just go, it feels right to do it now because I've got loads of flagged players, and you remain flexible. Whilst I'm not ready to commit yet to a wildcard plan, I want to be in a position where I can commit a couple of weeks out so I can dead end and really maximise it. So I would suggest from game week 7, I'm probably going, maybe even game week 6, I'm wildcarding game week 8 to 9. Not there yet, but I'm eyeing it up. I'm massively eyeing it up. So if I was to pull the trigger in game week 8-9, shall we have a look at how a team could look? Now, maybe you'll be thinking I'm going a bit early here, but I want to do this as an exercise to show that I can't get to anywhere near this team with free transfers. It's completely foreign to my team, but I also want to do it to show that if we're chasing fixtures, this is what our team might look like. Now, sure, I don't want to show you this team and you all comment and go, you're selling all your good Arsenal, United and City players, because maybe that is the case, and maybe I wouldn't make it this extreme. This is an extreme version just to show you the difference. Now, I imagine my wildcard team would be a little bit more towards my current team and incorporate perhaps half this draft, not all of it, but it's good to show how different it would look if we're chasing those good fixture runs. So we should have a quick look at it. Before we do, guys, a bit of an announcement here. I've been doing some live streams. I say some. I've done one. I've done my first ever live stream going into the game week 4 deadline, and I couldn't believe how popular it was. Like, I was like, if I get 50 people watching or 100 people watching, I'll be over the moon. And I think we had over 400 at one point, which for little old me on my new YouTube channel is pretty cool. Obviously, I've done lots on other people's YouTube channels in the past and live streamed to much bigger numbers on Scout or Chasing Green Arrows. But on my own channel, it's something I want to develop and grow. And I thank you all for the support. But with that, I've launched my own members. So we have the squad tier and we have the ultras tier. If you guys fancy jumping on board, I would love you to join the squad. I'd love you to join the ultras. Now, you can do that for as little as $2.99 a month. And honestly, guys, if I see you are a squad member and I see your comments on this video or any other video or in the live chats, I will be commenting and replying and answering your questions as a priority. I can't always answer every question as a priority. Apologies. I do as best as I can on these YouTube videos. Now, if you want to become a ultra, it gets even better because you get to spend some time in a WhatsApp group with me. That's pretty cool, right? And we'll be doing voice notes and videos and updates daily, pretty much. So do feel free to check it out. But look, let's get back on the video. I've got to show you that draft. So Wildcard 8 draft. This is what it could look like. This is a bit of fun. Goalkeepers, I reckon, if Turner's still starting and Areola's still starting, we might go with the 2 basement goalkeepers. Now, this squad is to accommodate Mo Salah, right? At the time of recording, Mo Salah is still playing for Liverpool. So we've got Turner and Areola in there. Then I look at the back line, and it's full of players I don't own. Trent, Liverpool's run is awesome. I mentioned the fixtures for Liverpool. This draft contains Salah, Trent and Darwin. Again, Darwin we would need to know is starting. So at the back we've got Trent. We know what he offers. We don't need to talk about Trent. Like, we know what an FPL asset he is if Liverpool are keeping clean sheets. Because first and foremost, even with Trent and all of his upside, we have to evaluate a team that can defend. And Liverpool just kept a clean sheet to Aston Villa 3-0. Maybe they've turned a corner. But again, we'll evaluate them. I'm not saying I'd jump on Trent game week 5, but maybe I would game week 9. Udogie, I think, is going to be in everyone's team. What an asset he is. Cash, again, this could be Moreno. If Moreno's fit, then Cash might be vulnerable. I know one's a left back, one's a right back, but the way I think Emery will shift it with one really attacking full back. But again, Villa defence is what I'm saying here. Good run of fixtures for Villa, aren't they? Like, I think the Aston Villa run, like, they are top of the ticker. So game week 8, it's West Ham, then it's Luton, then it's Forest, Fulham. Oh, good run. Spurs and then Bournemouth. Like, some good runs in there. Home fixtures from game week 8. So game week 9 and 10 are both at home, and then 12's at home as well. The only away fixture there is Forest away, but Fulham, Luton and West Ham at home. Like that very much for Aston Villa. I've got Newcastle defence. I'm a bit concerned about Newcastle defence keeping clean sheets like they did last year with European football and the effect that could have. But for the time being, I'd evaluate that by game week 8-9. I'd know more about Newcastle and how European away days affect them, for example. And then a 4 million defender in there. The midfield's where it gets loads of fun because we've got Salah, and with Salah, you can't have a plethora of 8.59 million mids like many of us got now. So I've gone Salah, and then I've gone Maddison for kind of the only mid-price mid, or mid to top price mid. But then below that, it's all those kind of 7.1 and below. So Bowen, again, the West Ham fixtures, top of the ticker. Diaby, because I think he's going to match Watkins, and he's a lot cheaper. Get close to matching Watkins. Remember, neither are on penalties. And then Eze, like we've spoken about Eze being the talisman for Palace, penalties. Well, the Crystal Palace fixtures are really good as well. Like 9 and 10 aren't amazing for Palace, but from 11 onwards, really nice. Burnley, Everton, Luton, West Ham. So players we've spoken about, like we know how good they are. Bowen, Diaby, Eze. Aren't in our teams though. Maddison, I feel like would be a bit of a long-term keeper. Maybe Son would be that, and you'd have to rejig funds. Again, the Spurs fixtures, I've got double Spurs here. They're kind of mid-rank. But again, I don't want to purely chase fixtures, which is why obviously Haaland and the Spurs guys are in. Archer, I think, will be a set and forget because he's great and he's 4.5. But then I've gone Darwin. Now, this could very easily be, Watkins if you wanted to go triple Villa. It could be a variety of forwards, right? It might be Gabriel Jesus. The Arsenal run's not bad. They're towards the top of the ticker too. But I do wonder by game week 9, we're going to know. I don't wonder. I know we're going to know Jurgen Klopp's first choice front three. I think it might be Diaz left, Salah right, and Darwin central. And if it is, we've just seen Darwin with 2 assists in game week 4. We saw his goals in game week 3. If he starts, I think he's going to get points. Now, the Liverpool have Everton game week 9. Derby, I expect goals. But then game week 10, Forest. 11, Luton. 12, Brentford. I want triple Liverpool for that run. I want Salah, I want Trent, and I want another attacking player, and I think it'll be Darwin. So, look, it means we're lighter on Chelsea. Well, probably that's fair. Probably we've gone too heavy on them already. It means we're a bit lighter on City, but we still have Haaland. Maybe you keep a Man City defender because they'll keep clean sheet scales at everyone. But we're massively lighter on Arsenal, but massively lighter on Man United as well. The United fixtures are tough. Like game week 9, they do have Sheffield United away. But then they play City, Fulham, and then, okay, it's Luton, but then it's Everton, Newcastle. So look, they're toughish fixtures, but they're not terrible. They're not must-sells. But it's a really interesting team that. Nothing like what our teams look like at the moment, which make me think this could be one for the wildcard. Let me know what you guys think. And look, if you want to see a wildcard plan or a wildcard sort of draft, then we could do that for game week 5 as well. I mean, I look at the game week 5 wildcard, and I don't think I'm making not too many changes. But for now, guys, and stay tuned because next week we've got game week preview, maybe a wildcard draft game week 5, but also my team selection. I've got some interesting plans, and I think they're going to centre around Son. But what midfielder will I be selling? Because I tell you what, it ain't easy parting with a Rashford or a Saka or a Foden. But if I get Son, it's going to have to be one of those guys, I think. that's on the chopping block. So for now, guys, go well, and I'll speak to you very soon. Take care.